Welcome to New Hampshire's Business. I'm Fred Coker. A number of New Hampshire banks have issued public statements on their websites in the past few days testifying to their financial strength to their customers and in the wake of the 3 bank failures in other parts of the country: Silicon Valley Bank, Signature Bank, and Silvergate Bank. One of the New Hampshire banks that has issued public statement about its financial strength is the Bank of New Hampshire. Year opened 1831, commercial lending specialty, a state chartered bank, member of Federal Reserve, 24 offices across New Hampshire, home office Laconia, 294 employees, total assets $2.4 billion. Now, here's part of the public statement the bank released March 13th. Bank of New Hampshire statement: while Bank of New Hampshire is in no way affiliated with these banks, we understand the nationwide stress this has created, questioning the security of deposits kept in a financial institution. We want to assure the Bank of New Hampshire customers and our communities as a whole that we are in the strongest financial position we have ever been in, with a strong capital position combined with the highest liquidity and income levels in our 192-year history. With me is the president and the CEO of the Bank of New Hampshire, Chris Logan. Welcome.
Well, thank you, Fred.
Nice to have you here. What is your take on this? What is your take on these failures before I ask you anything else?
I mean, obviously, it's concerning for all of us when the second and third largest bank failures ever happen in the course of a week.
Right.
However, I think generally speaking, for the consumer, it's not a concern. The profile of those banks were very unique to any bank in New Hampshire, but certainly unique to the 4,800 banks in the country.
Right. Are you satisfied with the actions and statements by Janet Yellen, the Secretary of Treasury, by the FDIC, and by the Federal Reserve's new loan program for banks that need liquidity? Are you satisfied with that?
Yeah, I believe the program they stood up, the bank term financing program they stood up overnight, pretty much was a great program to put up for banks that need liquidity. Again, I don't think many banks in New Hampshire actually need that, which is not a concern for our consumers in the state.
Yeah, you're a commercial lending bank primarily, although you take deposits in general, right?
Well, we have a full menu of retail and commercial products.
Okay.
Our loan portfolio is skewed more to commercial than residential at this point.
How do you think that's going to be affected by this?
The loan portfolio?
The commercial side.
I don't believe at this point that will be affected. I think at this point that was a liquidity crisis that happened for these banks. It wasn't a credit crisis or a capital crisis.
Okay, good point. Yep.
So I believe lending still is going to be open for not only Bank New Hampshire, but for banks as a whole.
What kind of commercial lending is common these days in New Hampshire?
The vast majority of our lending is commercial real estate lending. C&I, commercial and industrial lending is for operating companies. Those are more difficult to come by. There's not as many of those opportunities in the state.
Yeah. So at this point, it's fair to say, would you be accurate to say, in your opinion, that the bank deposits in New Hampshire, not only at the Bank of New Hampshire, but at other banks in the state, are protected?
Yes, and I think the room point that's really important to understand is the deposits at SVB Bank, Silicon Valley Bank. It's been reported somewhere between 5 and 20% of those deposits were insured. 80% or 95% of them were uninsured. Right. At Bank of New Hampshire, I did the math yesterday, 81.2% of our deposits are insured. So we don't have very large depositors. We have more of the common depositor. And it's estimated that 78% of all the 19 community banks in the state are insured. So It's a much different profile. Yeah.
Is the commercial sector and commercial lending growing in the state generally?
I mean, I think generally it's growing, at a small pace. Bank of New Hampshire has been fortunate. We've been able to grab more market share over the past several years.
Yeah. So is it fair to say, after we've talked about this bank issue, that banking in New Hampshire is healthy?
Yes, it is. And I would say, actually, the banking industry as a whole is much more resilient and much healthier today than it certainly was in 2008.
My thanks to Chris Logan, President and CEO of the Bank of New Hampshire.
Thank you for the opportunity.
If you missed part of this briefing on the banking situation from Chris, it will be posted all this week at WMUR.com.